Hey, hi, this is Shilpa here, the author of Home Your Quest, and welcome to my new tutorial this week. So, today I'm going to answer one key question that's coming up in the survey, and we are doing a series of, answering your key questions that have come up in my Home Your Quest survey so I can clear doubts and as you start using the software and as you start analyzing your patients. So, one thing, and this is a very important question, do you repertorize every case? So, this is a very important question because the thing is, you do not repertorize every case. And there is a system here and there is a process. How do you select what cases do you repertorize and what you do not? So, if you're familiar with my stages template, I divide patients into four different categories, right? So, stage one are patients who have only diagnostic symptoms and pathological symptoms and really basic common disease symptoms. Um, Stage two are patients who have local symptoms but some local concomitants, so some more information, which is a bit peculiar but at a local level. Stage three are people who have peculiar generals and really good mind body symptoms and lots of deep holistic constitutional symptoms. And stage four are people who have very peculiar symptoms and sensations which are even beyond mind and body, right at the source. So if you look at this graph, we do not repertorize cases at stage 1 and cases at stage 4. And why is that? Because stage 1 would have really basic diagnostic symptoms, and unfortunately, our repertories and even our materia medica provings do not have adequate information at a clinical level. Remedies are not proved at a pathological level. Uh, so that information doesn't enter the repertory, so it's really patchy and clinical rubrics are very tiny, and by default these are cannot be repertorized really well, and you'll miss your remedy if you take these diagnostic symptoms. So in many of the cases I've shown you, we use these for reference. We either use them in the remedy analysis where you're doing the final differentiation, or we use them as references, or you use your knowledge of um, you know organopathy or other disease specific materia medica to find your remedies at that level. And also stage 4, you are understanding the person at a very deep level, at the mind and the body and the sensations and beyond that. So you are basically using your materia medica knowledge. So whenever you have a case which is a clear cut case where you can understand that patient based on your materia medica knowledge or your group analysis or your source information, you you find those connections with that information, you do not need to repertorize. You can use repertorization as uh, you know a confirmation, but you can very well prescribe wonderful remedies just based on that information. So those are the two types of cases I do not. I've tons of cases were explained how I analyze stage 4 cases, even using HomeoQuest, using the Quest feature and the remedy analysis feature, but that's another tutorial. Today, I'm just trying to explain to you what is it that you repertorize and what is it that you don't. So repertorization is best for stage 2 and stage 3. Now, even within that, when you have these local and generals, peculiars, and the peculiar, rare, strange symptoms, it is also important to know how many symptoms you have. So as I keep on telling you, you have to use symptoms which are broad, big rubrics, symptoms that can be converted into these broad, big rubrics, and you need to have at least three really good rubrics or components to make a complete analysis, right? So that's very important. So if you do not have that many symptoms, you cannot repertorize. And that is a very important criteria. So many students, they talk about, what do you do about those great gems I get from my patient? Say I get one really peculiar rubric or peculiar symptom, but you cannot repertorize on just one. How do you then, and I don't know a remedy for that particular symptom. How do you then analyze such cases? So today I'm going to really share with you an interesting case. And as you know, I'm a fan of Fatak, so I'm actually taking a case, another one by Fatak today, so just bear with me. So this is a very interesting case. I was recently consulted by a middle-aged person who had developed diarrhea, and when I inquired about the origin, he told me he'd gone to Nagpur, which is a city in India, which is very hot and dry. So he'd gone there in the hot weather, and because it was extremely hot, he had drunk large quantities of water throughout the day, and next day he had developed diarrhea. So a very peculiar state here, but not much. And you really have to understand what was the real trigger for the diarrhea. And and that's the analysis process. So as you know, there's just one interesting symptom, and that's all. Causative factor in a way, that's what you can call this, and you have nothing else. So this is too little information to repertorize. All you know that he's drunk a lot of water in hot weather and he developed diarrhea. So in such cases, you could, go to the repertory search and put in something like diarrhea drinking water, and then you have lots of options here, and your information is there. It's all scattered. So, you can see here diarrhea drinking water from, possible, diarrhea drinking water immediately after. We don't know whether it was that state, cold drinks, not really mentioned. So can you see it's like lots of rubrics there, everything is scattered around. So this is where I go and use Quest. And Quest is wonderful because it gathers that information from that important information, which is water drinking, and he had diarrhea, right? So just 3 words there, and it will go and find the top remedies for you from your entire database, Matura Medica and your repertories, and sort it out for you in there, so you have and it's sorting it not just based on how many, what's the grade of that the rubric and the remedy, but it's doing it based on how many authors have given that particular remedy a tick for that rubric. So it's also based on that. So the more number of authors that have given that remedy a tick, the higher it is graded in Quest. So this is where I would now go and start looking at the top remedies. It's not necessarily the first one. Remember, it's a one rubric case. So you have to now go and quickly go and look at all, at least the first 5 or 10, so that you know what's happening here. So arsenicum comes up right at the top. It has diarrhea drinking water from. Good enough. Cold water from, we don't know. Let's look at the other remedies. We have staphysagria, again diarrhea drinking water from, was after cold water. So it was, we don't know whether it was cold or hot. It was just that he was drinking lots of water. Let's look at lycopodium, again drinking cold drinks causes diarrhea. And again cold water, right? Keep it at the back of your mind. Croton tig, again diarrhea drinking water from immediately after. We don't know, it wasn't immediately after, it happened the next day in our patient. So and again the quality of diarrhea, the type of diarrhea, we don't have no information what type of diarrhea. So that is that was not a very complete information, right? Then we have Viratrum, again another great diarrhea remedy. Drinking water from, again cold water from. So all these remedies have cold water and drinking water, right? A hot day, drinking water cold causes diarrhea. Interesting. It was a hot day. It was a very hot day. Um, and then again, with profuse sweat, we don't have that information, right? Next, it's ginger, which is ginger. So interesting, right? Again, this is specifically for diarrhea drinking impure water containing oil. That's not what our patient has. But interesting, right? I did not know gingerbread and I didn't know that it had diarrhea from drinking impure water. A very interesting remedy. I've always thought of arsenicum for that. So this is something to keep in mind if you are from bad water and you develop diarrhea. Okay, gratiola. Again, I don't know a lot about this remedy, but let's see. Diarrhea drinking water from, drinking diarrhea, drinking water too much. That is interesting because this person had drunk a large quantities of water throughout the day. What else? Diarrhea worsen open after drinking too freely of water. So Nair has some very interesting rubrics about drinking large quantities of water. Diarrhea after drinking too freely, again Herrings has it. What else? Summer diarrhea from drinking excessive drinking of water, whether hot or cold. So now this is peculiar. Clark has it, which I know again this is Matra Medica. All this information is coming from Matra Medica. So somewhere it is not in the repertories as much. Nair has it, but Ken doesn't. So too much water is coming up all in the Matra Medicas. Diarrhea brought on from drinking large quantities of water due to violent thirst. Ken's lectures on homeopathic Matra Medica. How interesting is that? And none of these people have actually put it in their repertories. Kent did not put lots of water. He just put in water from. Uh, Fata, summer diarrhea from drinking excess of water. Again, his Matra Medica has it. Ellen's TF, clinical diarrhea. We don't know what sort of diarrhea, but it has excessive drinking of water. Um, and then Pierce talks on Matra Medica with comparison. Prominent symptom diarrhea due to drinking excessive water. And that is interesting. How many authors have actually put in something gratiola drinking excessive water? Let's go and check gratiola from the Matra Medica and we'll check FADOC there. This remedy especially acts on the GIT. And what do they have here with in the GIT? Profuse yellow gushing with coldness in the abdomen, summer diarrhea from drinking of excess of water. So this is where we have our information. Let's see what this patient got. On looking into my repertory, I found drinking water too much aggravates. Only one drug, and that is gratiola. So he has it in his repertory in a different form. It is a general rubric. There is no diarrhea mentioned, but drinking too much water has aggravated in general. And it's a well-known drug for diarrhea. I prescribed this drug, which immediately relieved the patient. So hope that makes sense, and hope that makes sense as to why you need to use Quest in such situations, because you get the entire formula there. You get the entire spectrum and landscape of a remedy from wherever you have in one place, which is sometimes scattered in throughout the repertory when you are using rubrics and you're choosing, because if you were just looking at this rubric, gratiola would be there. Here it is in Kent's, but look at all the different rubrics remedies you would have to go and read from the Matra Medica, whereas when you use Quest you just have it all there out for you, and you can actually make such quick prescriptions because you're looking at the top remedies here, remember, and you just have to choose from those 5 or 6 remedies and get to where you want. It is your database at the fingertips, right? So that's the best part, and that's where Quest has saved me tons and tons of time just making those quick prescriptions. So hope that helps you, and hope that helps you understand when you repertorize, when you don't repertorize, what do you do instead, and go and give the best to your patients. So take care, and I'll come back to you with another tutorial next week. Thank you very much. Bye for now.